those words, will you pull down your nomination?
Senator, I don't believe I've used those words.
But if you did, will you withdraw?
It's hard for me to imagine a scenario in which I would
I'm just
use
saying,
those
assume
words.
it. If you said it, will you withdraw?
If I were quoting someone else saying it to describe that kind of sentence, I wouldn't be expressing my own views. But Senator, I don't believe I've ever used those words.
Did you see the look on Dale Ho's face when Senator Kennedy asked him if he meant what he tweeted? That right there is the moment that made this entire hearing worth watching. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I cover Senate hearings and political moments that the mainstream media would rather you forget about, and today's video is one you do not want to miss. Senator John Kennedy walked into that hearing room and did what very few senators are willing to do. He asked the hard questions, the uncomfortable ones, the ones that actually matter. Before we get into my full reaction, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling me what you thought of this exchange. I want to know if you think Dale Ho gave real answers, or just really good non-answers. Now, let's get into it.
Did you say, I support compelled disclosure of political donations by wealthy individuals, but not by minorities?
First, Senator Kennedy, thank you for the gift of the notepads for my children.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it. I don't recall using those words before, Senator. I do remember.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I've got a bunch here. You've described yourself as a, quote, wild-eyed sort of leftist. Do I have that right?
Senator, I think I was referring to a caricature of the way that I think other people may have described me, not how I would describe myself. And I want to assure you that I understand that the role of a judge is to set aside whatever personal views that person may have.
I heard your testimony. Have you called Republicanism, well, strike that. Did you say, quote, Republicanism is an anti-democratic virus?
No, Senator, I don't believe I've used those words.
Okay, you're under oath now.
Yes, Senator, I don't believe I've used those words.
Okay.
I do remember saying last year that there was a loss of confidence in our elections that has spread kind of like a virus.
Right. Well, that's a long way from calling the Republican Party an anti-democratic virus.
Yes, it's very different, and I don't believe I used those words, Senator.
Right. If you did use those words, will you pull down your nomination?
Senator, I don't believe I've used those words.
But if you did, will you withdraw?
It's hard for me to imagine a scenario in which I would
I'm just
use
saying,
those
assume
words.
it. If you said it, will you withdraw?
If I were quoting someone else saying it to describe that kind of sentence, I wouldn't be expressing my own views. But Senator, I don't believe I've ever used those words. I've represented.
Did you when you sent out those personal tweets about Senator Cotton, Senator Blackburn, and Senator Cornyn, did you mean them at the time?
Without hearing those tweets, Senator Kennedy, it's hard for me to remember precisely, what was said or what I was thinking at the time. I do very much regret the tone that I've taken on social media from time to time. I know that I've crossed the line from time to time, and
When you crossed the line, did you mean it?
Without knowing the specific context or the specific tweet that you're referring to, Senator Kennedy, it's kind of hard for me to say, but
Do you generally tweet things you don't mean?
Senator Kennedy, I would agree with you that Twitter has become a very coarse place.
I don't want to debate Twitter. Do you generally tweet things that you don't mean?
Well, Senator Kennedy, I've contributed to the coarseness on Twitter sometimes by pushing the envelope to break
But
through.
when you did it, did you mean it?
It's hard for me to respond to that kind of generally, Senator Kennedy, without a specific
You're a smart guy.
example.
Sure you can. You either meant it or you didn't. You got two choices. Door A door B?
Well, Senator Kennedy, I know that I've pushed the envelope.
Okay.
And
Do you regret it?
I do regret it,
Do
Senator
you
Kennedy.
regret it because you didn't mean it? Or do you regret it because it might cause you not to be confirmed?
Senator Kennedy, I regret it because I think it's contributed to the coarseness of our discourse overall, and I think it would be
When
better.
did you have this epiphany that everybody has equal dignity and worth? When you were nominated, or
Well, I believe you're.
including Republicans?
Well, I believe you're referring to my religious faith.
No, I'm not.
Senator.
I'm referring to your coarseness.
Well, the equal dignity and worth is a principle of my religious faith, Senator.
It's also a principle of morals and good judgment. I'm over. Mr. Ho, you're a smart man, I can tell. But I think you're an angry man. And I really have great concerns about voting for you. We don't need federal judges who are angry. We need federal judges who are fair and can see both points of view. And you said these things. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy. Senator Feinstein.
Thanks very much, Mr. Chairman. The 4 district court nominees on today's panel come from a diverse background of experiences. You've worked.
All right, so we just watched the whole thing, and I have a lot to say. Let me start from the top. Kennedy opens by asking Dale Ho about compelled disclosure of political donations, specifically whether Ho supports forcing wealthy individuals to disclose donations, but not minorities. Ho says he doesn't recall saying that. And right there in the first 15 seconds, we already have a pattern forming. That's going to be the theme of this entire exchange. A nominee who cannot seem to remember anything that might be inconvenient for his confirmation. Then Kennedy brings up the wild-eyed leftist quote. Ho's explanation was smooth. He said he was describing a caricature of how others see him. But here's my problem with that. If you're putting yourself forward as a neutral, impartial federal judge, why is language like that anywhere near your public record? Kennedy let it go, but he planted the seed. The anti-democratic virus moment is where things get really interesting. Kennedy asks Ho directly whether he called republicanism an anti-democratic virus. Ho says no. Kennedy reminds him he is under oath. Ho then admits he did say there was a loss of confidence in elections that spread like a virus, and in my opinion that distinction he's drawing is razor thin. If you're a federal judge nominee and your best defense is, I didn't say those exact words, that's not a ringing endorsement of your judgment. Kennedy picked up on that and pressed him, and Ho just could not give a straight answer about whether he'd withdraw if the exact quote surfaced. That's telling. The tweet section is where Kennedy did his best work. He asks Ho about personal tweets sent targeting Republican senators Cotton, Blackburn, and Cornyn. Ho admits he regrets the tone. Kennedy then backs Ho into a corner with the simplest possible logic. You either meant it when you sent it or you didn't. Door A or door B. And Ho, a clearly intelligent man, could not walk through either door. He kept talking about context and coarseness and Twitter as a platform. Kennedy wasn't having it. Then Kennedy asks the question that cut the deepest. Did you regret those tweets because you didn't mean them, or because they might cost you this confirmation? Ho said he regrets contributing to coarseness in public discourse. That's a politician's answer, not a judge's answer. A judge gives you a straight answer. Kennedy closes by calling Ho smart but angry and saying the country doesn't need angry federal judges. It needs fair ones who can see both sides. And I think that's the right call. Your personal opinions on policy, on political parties, on individual senators, those have to be checked at the door when you put on that robe. Based on everything we watched today, I'm not convinced Dale Ho has made that separation. Kennedy was right to push and right to be concerned.